Hello everyone, my name is Ziamaro, and welcome to Battlerite Sage. Today I want to talk a little bit about mind games. What exactly do I mean by mind games? There are a few different kinds of mind games you can play in Battlerite. There's the footsie battle when two range characters are trading shots. You could play positioning mind games where you play aggressively to force cooldowns out of people and then force them out of position. Those are two kinds of mind games, but they're actually quite self-explanatory. So just try them out in game and see what people do. But what I'd like to focus on today is cooldown management mind games. Every champion has defensive and mobility cooldowns. I've mentioned in a previous video how you should never decide before a round even begins who you're going to focus. You should always focus the person who's blown all their cooldowns. And this is almost like a counterpart video to that. How do you get your enemy to blow their cooldowns? A few people have asked if I have any quick tips for people around silver or gold, and my immediate answer is always learn to watch people's cooldowns and punish them when they don't have any. Genuinely, if you can work on that skill and get good at it, you'll easily get to platinum. People around silver and gold panic, and they'll use cooldowns without even thinking. So to give you a specific example, let's say you're playing Freya. If you're against Jade, try and get her to hit your counter to pull her towards you. Hit her a few times, and she'll probably use her space to get away. Now you use your space to chase, but she won't have anything to get away from you now. That's probably the most basic mind game I can think of. By closing the gap with your counter, it forces them to waste their main escape to get away, and now you use your other gap closer and punish them. Yes, if the Jade has energy, she can push you away with her R, but you can always iframe that with your Thunderclap. I just wanted to keep the example quite simple. So, punishing people being trigger happy with their cooldowns will carry you out of silver and gold. But what about when you get to platinum? At platinum, most people have a good idea of what every champion can do. They have an understanding of baiting, they understand positioning a little better, and they'll know not to hit counters. So what's the best way to go from platinum to diamond? You guessed it, mind games! The footage I'm using in this video was a losing game, but there were some really cool mind games between myself and Teldo, or at least I presume it was Teldo on an alt account because he played all the same champions. But whoever it was, they played very well. So what are the mind games between Croak and Paloma? Obviously Croak wants to get the stun on Paloma, so as Paloma you want to avoid that. One thing you can do is use your other side just as the eye above your character goes red, and hopefully they'll break stealth and miss you. The only problem is, other side has a much longer cooldown than stealth, so you can't consistently rely on that. Plus, if Croak notices you doing that a lot, they'll just bait other side and then stun your teammate. Secondly, using your other side just for the Croak all the time can be a bad habit. It means you'll never have your other side for anything else, and that could be more dangerous. So the other thing Paloma can do is try and fear Croak. This is pretty difficult against a good Croak. If you start to move in Croak's direction, they're going to expect the fear, so they won't attack right away to avoid triggering it. So your best bet is to pretend you're not aware of them. Carry on healing, carry on doing your thing, but keep a watchful eye for the Croak. So the second that eye goes red, you slam the Q button. They're going to think you haven't even noticed them and go for an opportunistic stun, so they might actually trigger it. But wait, next time Croak isn't going to fall for the same trick. So this time you're going to have to make it obvious that you are aware of him. So you wait until the eye goes yellow and then move towards him a bit as if you're going to fear. They'll expect the fear, so they'll wait a second. But you don't fear them right away. You wait until they think you're not going to fear, and then bam, you hit them with the Q again. The same interplay happens with every matchup. So if you're playing a ranged DPS and you know the enemy has a counter, often you can purposefully miss a few shots to bait the counter out, because once the counter's down, you can punish them for it. Same thing as a melee character. Use a gap closer, but don't start swinging straight away. Hopefully that'll bait the counter out, and then you can punish them. Of course, it's not as straightforward as that, because they're going to expect that. But that's what mind games are all about. There's actually a bit of a meme about very high level gameplay. The most annoying thing in high level matches is trying to bait an ability, but the enemy just never uses it. If you know Freya has their counter, you're going to play carefully until it's down. But if the Freya never counters, you're just going to be playing carefully for the whole round and not outputting very much damage. So when you get to the level where everyone is playing these mind games, sometimes just never using an ability can really mess with people. Every matchup has a huge amount of depth when it comes to mind games. The interplay between Paloma and Croak is totally different to the interplay between, say, Pearl and Croak. And that's one of the reasons people will only play 2 or 3 champions. You can have a good understanding of the combos and mechanics and damage dealing of 10 or more champions, but if you've only played 10 hours each on 10 champions, you won't have played against every other champion very many times. So some stuff, particularly mind game stuff, will catch you off guard from time to time. It is important to have a good understanding of every character, so I'm not saying you should never play any other character, but if instead you spent 100 hours on one champion, you've probably played against every champion a lot of times. Being caught off guard from time to time is okay, but it will be a stumbling block for you once you get to Diamond. Let's say you're playing Croak as one of your 10 champions, and you come across a one-trick Shifu. The Shifu has probably played against Croak a countless amount of times, so he probably knows all the tricks that Croak's going to try and play on him. You probably have a good understanding of what Shifu can do. In fact, you've probably got 10 hours on Shifu yourself, but you haven't played this specific matchup nearly as many times as he has. His mechanics may not be better than you, but he knows the mind games in the matchup way better than you do. At the end of the day, you should just play whatever you want to play. If you get bored easily, there's nothing wrong with switching it up often. It is important to learn every character, but there is a lot to be said for knowing a champion and all of its specific matchups inside and out. And the reason for that is mind games. You can probably master combos and mechanics in 10 hours, but it'll be a lot longer before you fully understand the mind games that that character can play. For example, I've played 200 hours of Paloma, and I don't come across nearly enough rooks. He's just not that common in my games. Paloma, on the other hand, is incredibly common. So I often get outplayed by rooks because they know my tricks way better than I know theirs. So in that respect, there's definitely something to be said for playing something slightly off meta. Mind games aren't something that can be just taught. It's something that requires a lot of experience. So my best advice would be just find a character that you really enjoy and then just learn them inside and out. The only way to get better at mind games is experience. So just get out there, play loads of games, and learn what you need to do against every specific matchup. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please feel free to subscribe for more Battlerite guides, news, and discussion. And don't forget to check us out on twitch.tv/BattleriteSage. Until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.